Welcome to A Cup of Tea with Stephen. Well, back in the late 70s, when I was just 16 years old, it was a rather dark place for a young gay guy to be out and about. But one place that did bring light to my life was a Monday night. It was the Astoria Club and Bangs.
Oh,
There were a whole pile of characters that I'd never seen before. And I looked down on the dance floor, and there was Marilyn, Boy George, and my guest today, with her amazing red beehive, walked around the floor. It's Eve Ferret.
hello,
And
everybody.
Eve, and Eve went on, like many of the people that were on the dance floor at Bangs, become an international star. So,
Oh,
hi, Eve. How are you?
hello, darling. I'm very well. I'm very well. Lovely to see you.
You
Thank you for your
remember?
kind words.
You remember Bangs Club in the Astoria?
How could I ever forget it? I loved it so much. People used to say, "You're the only person I know who could ever pull." I mean, it wasn't.
No, I used to honestly look down and see your beehive, and I remember saying to someone, oh, "Who's that?" Because it was so amazing looking, as Marilyn was as well. And I said, "It's Biddy and Eve." So
I loved Bangs because, as you say, it was at the Astoria, which actually years later, in about 83 or 84, I can't
yeah.
remember, was Yakety Yak. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
remember that. Nobody knows. It was one of the first kind of Lieber and Stoller musicals at the time. There's been loads since, and where I met and actually worked with our lovely mutual friend Denise.
Denise
Denise
was a
Welsh.
guest a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Did she do? Oh yeah, and we're still, still the same. Still can chat together as if nothing had ever passed all these years.
God,
She's the same. I'm the
it's an
same.
exciting time, wasn't it? I mean, it was just. I kind of missed being able to smoke in a club and have a drink. And
I know it was an exciting time.
it
I
really
mean,
was.
mainly because one didn't mind falling down the stairs. You knew you kind of could get up.
You didn't have to
Whereas
control the
now
support.
you think
You
the stairs, the
didn't
stairs.
you didn't fall around drunk and have to join a support group. Anyway, how's lockdown been for you?
Uh, well, it's been strange, like everybody else, as a person who's been self-employed basically since I was about 13, with me, my paper rounds and Saturday morning at the hairdressers down the road. I've always been self-employed, so I've always been able to be motivated even if I'm on my own. The thing is, because I love people and I'm very sociable, that kind of severe cut off was for all of us a nightmare. But it's, and then I stupidly fell on the 29th, and no, nobody's interested in this, but anyway, I fell on the 29th of March,
Yeah.
had an operation in hospital.
No.
Yeah, on my left wrist. I don't know if you can see it, it's all scarred, anyway,
No.
you can't see it. And when I went in, they said, we're not going to give you an injection to go to sleep. We're just going to do it whilst you're awake. And I said, why is that? Why are you going to try and have this operation? And they said, well, we're not unsure about the COVID and, putting something down my throat and all this rubbish.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't rubbish, all this kind of thing. So I had the operation whilst I was awake. So my arm was there and I promised them I wouldn't chat. That was what I promised them. They said, you've got to be quiet. I said, I'll be quiet. Don't worry. I can be quiet. Anyway, I'm lying there and they cut open my arm. Can you feel it? I said, well, I can feel it. Not painful, but I can feel it. They said, that's normal, blah, blah. And then I heard, because it was the first day for them of their COVID PPI.
Yeah.
So that hadn't really worked with it. I was, and I heard one of them say, why is this screw bigger than the other two? And you know when you can't speak, you go, and like this. And my dad, my darling dad, who's passed away, but he loomed, when people come back to you at certain times. And so he loomed into my face in a kind of like that. And he sort of went to me, they're coming the old George. And I said back to him in my mind, I know, go away, Dad, I know. And then it was just such a scene. I went in, as Mark said, like the new Doctor Who, because I had, well, nobody who's, unless they're really young, can remember Doctor Who had a really long scarf. Do you remember? And I had this great big long scarf going in. with it all wrapped around me, this scarf. I went in like the new Doctor Who. And I literally came out as an extra from Fiddler on the Roof.
No.
Well, I had these bandages on my legs, you know, like that, because they sent me out straight away. I had no shoes on, and I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to get COVID, but a heroin injection is going to go into my foot. This is also. This, and as I came out, I was like this, and I was going. Ooh. It was a mad moment. That took. So whilst everyone was charging around, I had broken my left arm, damaged my right rotator cuff, so I couldn't pull my drawers up or down.
The Mark had to do that for you.
Well, it's a scene because it's a scene because I said, and I couldn't put my bra on, which for those of you who don't know, it's a scene. And I've never ever done it that way around. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't move my arm. So we were in the bedroom and I said, right, come in, Mark. I said, now help me put my bra on. Now, helping me off is one thing, but helping me on is another thing. So I hoisted myself in with my broken bit. And then he said, I can't see what I'm doing. I said, that's the whole point. I said, there's no light. I don't want you to see what you're doing. I don't, after 40 years, I don't want to see.
Eve, are you feeling all better now?
Oh, I'm great. Sorry, I go on about that. No, I'm good. I'm excited for the possibilities of excitement.
Yeah. Now, before we go back to the past, you're going to be doing some concerts, aren't you? You're going to be doing a concert quite soon.
I am. I'm back at the Zedell on the 10th of June.
Fantastic.
Which is amazing. And I got all different things that I'm doing.
Well, let's go way back now to when you first got started, and you know everyone knows that you were one of the original Blitz kids. How did you start performing?
It took a long time. I wanted to perform by piano from a very young age. I couldn't fit in physically or mentally anywhere at the time. It was all Melody Maker ads. And you would look and it would say singers, and they would state what they wanted. They would state that, you had to be a size 8. You needed to match up with somebody. It would never kind of work. I knew I loved all the old music and jazz and blues and all the kind of old comedians and things. And then I saw an ad in the Stage and it said singers required in the style of George Formby or Vera Lynn. I thought, well, I'm a bit George. I'll contact them. I went along. This was in the November of '76. And behind the bar was Liam Carson, who went on to be manager of the Groucho. I mean, he went on everywhere, and different people. Anyway, they liked me. There was this pianist called Larry. Really, he was on the front cover of the Ritz. I must dig it out. An American guy, very infamous in London.
Yeah.
And he turned to me and went, high or low, like this. And I said, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about keys. So he started, and I remember singing The Way You Wear Your Hat. So it went, The Way You Wear Your Hat, like this. And then he changed it halfway and went, the memory of all that. It was really kind of mad kind of thing. But it's launched me. I started. And that's where I met Biddy, who was already performing there. Yeah. And we joined together just so that I can make it happen for people rather than digressing. And we joined together and started an act together called Biddy and Eve. Yeah.
You appeared at Country Cousins on a Sunday, didn't you? Quite
yeah. Yeah. Country Cousins, which was amazing, with all people like Hollywood Lawn, from the Andy Warhol, all sorts of different. The guy who was married to Liza Minnelli, Peter Allen.
Yeah,
he was amazing when he came over. First, dancing on the piano and everything like that. We're just sort of like very Hollywood.
Back then.
Pardon?
It was the place back then to go on a Sunday to Country Cousins.
Oh, well, everyone was in there, wasn't they? We're all kind of table hopping and hugging and marvellous. And I remember seeing Diana Dawes there.
Oh, she was great. And
there was this pair of saloon doors on stage.
Her boobs go through the door.
Oh, no, nothing to do with it. These pair of no, these saloon doors, and she came through these saloon doors, and she went, with most people, they start with a big number. With me, it ain't necessarily so. And I thought, oh my God,
That was her
she's
album,
so
Sliding Doors.
marvelous. Huh?
That was her album, Sliding Doors.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
she only did one album, but it's a collector's item if you happen to have it. But of course, you are well known as being a Blitz kid, one of the original ones. If ever you Google you, out comes Blitz. What was the Blitz? I mean, for people, it's become really fashionable again, the Blitz movement. What was it like going to a club like that back then?
Well, there wasn't any clubs like it to start off with. And it was an amalgamation of many people that arrived sort of at the same time. So people at St. Martin's came, the students.
Yeah.
People from the Central School of Fashion and Design came. All the art students came. Biddy and I were doing the performance, the show. We all all those clips that you see with like Blonde on Blonde and everything, they were all parties that we had. At the time. We didn't know that it was so amazing at the time. Well, we knew it was amazing at the time, but in the sense that it was that feeling that I always have, that Christmas should be every day. So I'm always a bit disappointed at Christmas. And in this COVID thing, I think, why on earth are these people trying to kiss me and hug me when they take no notice of me all these years, and suddenly it's COVID. We're not allowed to kiss, and they come towards me at 1,000 miles per hour. Eve, I haven't seen you for so long, and you're thinking, go away. It's just madness. Anyway, and it was a very strange time outside of the Blitz, because I'd been to all the different clubs, and within those clubs there was not such an acceptance of, it didn't matter who you were. All that mattered was that you had a kind heart. And that you got on. Nobody was particularly going to say, oh, look at her, which happened. Oh my God, I mean, I remember running down the road. Covent Garden wasn't Covent Garden as we know it now. It was derelict. It was warehouses. I remember running down the road with all screaming from different blokes and everything. And I remember going, that, because I can't run, like that kind of thing whereby everything's moving, except your legs. Do you know what I mean? You're running so fast, but nothing's moving. Anyway, I remember actually getting in through the door of the Blitz and went, I'm in, I'm safe, I'm home. And
I often wonder how, because I mean, it was bad enough when you were 16 and a boy just walking the streets of London and gay, how Marilyn and Boy George and all the Blitz kids managed to make it from A to B.
No, that was the nightmare.
They must have gone the Quentin Crisp look of just not looking at anyone and going straight ahead.
Well, even I don't observe actual people. I remember walking down the road here, and this voice went, "Aren't you going to say hello?" And I looked and I went, "Oh, Mum, I didn't see you." It was, you have this kind of thing whereby you don't want to. Most of us that were there, in fact, all of us, have this other side, which is where we're being all, say, flamboyant or naturally, not with an act put on, and we kind of found ourselves all together, but outside we don't have that kind of same confidence. I mean, I remember walking into a wine bar in Manchester, and a cigarette was put out on my back. And this woman, and I'm terrible with accents, and I turned around and I could see the little willy bit at the back of a person's, the woman's throat. Do you know that little dangly thing? I don't know what you call it. And I turned around and I looked down at her and she went, "Hey, you bloody big tits. Who do you think you are, standing in the middle of a wine bar with your tits hanging out?" And I just looked at her and I just turned to Biddy and I went, "Let's just go." Do you know what I mean? It was a very, I don't think people sort of know what a kind of a situation, what a kind of unaccepted
Yeah.
general ambience around. Now it's all, you know, I prayed to get to to a time where it didn't matter who you were,
Yeah, that's what I'd like
you
to
know,
see.
didn't
Yeah.
just a place where you say, you know, as long as you're kind, that's all we need.
Was the danger of back in that time? I remember when I was into the New Romantic era, I was sitting with some friends and a load of Greek guys, all big hard guys, and a woman. And a man approached the woman and started chatting her up, and the blokes didn't move. And they turned to me and went, "Oh, you've got well, bloody hell." You're a bloke. Oh my god! And none of the guys went to help me, but the woman got up and punched me.
I know.
And then it wasn't the era where you went, much as it was glamorous and fun, there were downsides.
Oh no, it was but out of that club came, you know, so many, as
Wonderful.
you say, creatives, but you know, the creatives were the creatives, if you know what I mean. The people that were in it became the people that were doing the magazines.
Hollywood came knocking on your door next, didn't it?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you the story. What happened was I was here in this flat and I bored, and I've always, and I thought, I know, I said, what do I fancy doing? I thought, I quite fancy being in a Bond film.
Yeah.
And not as obviously the beauty, but you know, the one that comes and goes, you know, give them a, yeah, you know, get them with a leg grip. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of. I hope you didn't see anything much there. I don't know what you thought, but do we get them with a leg grip? And which is what they all seem to do. Anyway, I found the casting director's phone number. Phoned her up. This is not phoned her up. Got through. You can't do anything like this now. You have to have a seat. You know, you have to go through hoops. Got phoned her through, and I went, "Oh, hello." I said, "You don't know me. My name's Eve Ferret." "Oh, I know you, Eve." This is what she said. So I said, "Yeah." I said, "I was wondering. I was just phoning, not thinking I'd even get through. I thought I was just wondering if you could possibly think of me for when you're casting the new Bond films."
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh no, you're totally not right for a Bond film." But she said, "You're totally not right for a Bond film." I said, "Oh no, that's okay. I just thought I'd ask. I just thought I'd try. But you might be good for another film that I'm doing at the moment." I said, "Oh right." She said, "Yes, it's a film that I'm casting with Gene Wilder." And I went, "Oh right." She said, do you think you could come in for a casting?" And I said, "When?" And she said, "In the morning." And I went, and my first thought was, "Oh my God, how can I lose a stone in a day? I'll have to cut my head off." This is what I thought. Anyway, I went to meet him, and there was all these really well-known English stars, and I was sitting there, and in the foyer. This is in Eaton, up in Eaton Square. He'd got this house, and he wasn't staying at the house, but he was using it as offices. And I was sitting there, and he came out, and he'd look at me, and he'd go, "Yeah, yeah," and then he'd go off, and then he'd come out for somebody else. He personally invited them into this room. Anyway, he then goes. He goes, "Yeah, yeah." I walk into this room. He goes, "Yeah, yeah. I think you'd be great for the job." Like this, I haven't done anything. And I said, what do you mean?" He said, "Oh, you look fantastic, blah, blah, blah." He said, I said, don't you want me to audition or anything?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, yeah, no, audition, audition." So I sang Let's Talk Dirty to the Animals.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Which so I goes, "Oh, a rooster says good morning." I'm not going to sing it now because it's too rude, but with a cock-a-doodle-doo, a horse's neigh is just his way. Anyway, I started singing this song, and unbeknownst to me, he was married to the woman who sang that song, called Gilda Radner.
Yes, yeah.
So and who was also going to be in the film. And anyway, I walked out. He said, "No, I think you'd be great." I walked out of the audition. I think I'm in a film with Gene Wilder. But obviously, you never know these things till they happen. And then and then it kept, and the call came through, and I remember sitting about here, actually, not on this sofa. This is a different sofa, but sitting about here, taking the phone. I've got a real phone. A phone. I've got a phone. This is just check. I've got a phone. Oh God, everything's gone. I've got a phone that's attached to the wall. You know those people that go, young people come in, they go, "What's that?" And I go, it's a phone. They go, "But it's attached to the wall." Anyway, I got the phone, and I went, "Oh, hello." This is how I went. I went, "Hello." And they go, "Oh, it's the producer of Haunted Honeymoon," was a film. It's the producer. And I went, "Oh, hello, yes." And he goes, "We were," and she's American. She goes, "Yeah, it's great. We can't wait for you to be on the show." You know how excuse me. I'm okay, just got overexcited. Oh, my cup of
tea. And so was it filmed in this country?
No, it's filmed it's filmed in this country. But what she said to me was, it would be great to have him in the film, but do you think like you could phone back? So do you think you can? This is me on the phone. Do you think you could lose like a little bit of weight? And I went, yeah, no worries, that's fine. Put the phone down. I went, oh, bastard! Ran down the hall onto the bed. Mark, my partner, said, "What's wrong with you?" He asked me if I could lose a little bit of weight. Anyway, I never lost the weight. I just did the show.
And it's become a bit of a classic, Conti Honeymoon, hasn't it?
Oh, it has. And it was fantastic doing it. It was in London. It was with all these big stars, Jonathan Pryce, all these.
I know. I've watched Pryce. You're great in it. You're great in it. You're doing fantastic.